So a way of looking at it is in terms of systems. So if you're inside a single system, then that's your entire worldview. Everything is colored by that. You see everything in that particular way. That is what everything is. So if you're inside of sutra, then you have a single endpoint. You know where you're heading, and you have this whole worldview that encompasses it. So there's a kind of universalism to sutra from the perspective of sutra. Anything else is a distraction. Anything else is just kind of not relevant, because that's not the true way of understanding things. That's not the right, correct system. That is not how things are from this view. You're inside. It's like you're inside that vehicle. And if you step outside of that, it looks really different. It looks totally different in context with other systems and from a different perspective. And it can have a different function, because you're not looking at your endpoint from inside that. You're looking at your endpoint of that little system. I don't mean to denigrate, but it's smaller in comparison to there being lots of other systems available. So you're looking at it with a different view, and you see how it relates in different context. Then its function becomes different. It becomes available as a possible way of being or response in different circumstances. And the texture, the whole meaning of finding emptiness, spaciousness, is experienced differently when it's in activity, when it's in relation to your emotions, not separate from. It just looks and feels different from that perspective. And you can't say at that point, well, that is right and this is wrong, or this is right and that is wrong, because you're contextualizing. And so every method then functions in terms of its value in context. Sutra becomes a method as opposed to an entire universal generalized path.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And I think that what I'm getting from that is that's what you refer to when you say meta system, like when it's meta systematic. It almost feels like Vajrayana in that sense. It's meta systematic. It's that allows you to move through different views. Kind of reminds me of some of Rob Orbea's teachings, where he would talk about ways of looking, and he would also talk about like there's different Buddha, like there's so many different Buddhisms, because there's Thich Nhat Hanh, and then there's Stephen Batchelder, like his version, and it's like you read it and he's like, it's different. He's like, their version of awakening or enlightenment is like, it's their version of Buddhism is different because it's being funneled through their unique experiences and their personality, and it's
So that's beginning to take more of a tantric perspective on things. As soon as you start talking about, the personality actually changes the way that something's delivered, it changes the way that you might relate to a teacher, then that's bringing more of a tantric perspective. Classically, a sutric perspective doesn't matter what your personality is. As a teacher, you're giving the same answer. You're very general in answer, because the same method applies to everybody. Doesn't matter what your circumstances are. It's that universalization of the path. So when you come into Tantra, you're going to start, because you're having that more meta-systematic view, and particularly from perspective of Dzogchen, that's where you get this meta-systematicity in terms of all of the Buddhist yanas, the vehicles that we started out talking about. When you have that kind of view towards the vehicles, then you're going to have much more this sense of, somebody practicing that vehicle is heading to that end point, and then somebody practicing this other vehicle is heading to a different end point, and that is okay. And then, again, from a contemporary perspective, taking a meta-systematic view to all of the Buddhist methods and practices and saying, well, we've got a different cultural heritage here as well. We have different practices from all kinds of traditions. How do they relate to each other? How do they clash with each other? Are they heading to different places, similar places in terms of experience? That again is another step beyond just a view of jhana within Buddhism.